Right now, in the palm of my hand, I am holding one of the most beautiful gifts the soil ever offers us. A deep, round, ruby red beet, still cool from the earth, heavier than it looks, with that sweet, mineral, almost woody scent that rises the very moment I lift it toward my face. And today, as I prepare these fresh beet recipes and press this glowing root through the juicer, I want to share with you a warm, surprising, and honest story about the benefits of beets, and especially about beets for eye health, for your eyes, and for your vision. Because hidden inside this simple, earthy root, there is a whole chain of sunlight, soil, water, and living color. And that chain connects, in a quiet and wonderful way, to the way you see the world around you. Listen to that sound. The first firm slice of the knife through the beet, that dense, satisfying give. And already my fingertips are painted with the most vivid crimson. This is the color that people have loved for thousands of years, long before anyone had modern words for nutrition. And as I feed these bright pieces into the juicer, as the machine begins to hum and the first ruby drops gather in the glass, I promise you this: by the time we finish here together, you will look at a simple beet in a completely new way. You will understand why fresh beet juice has quietly become one of the most talked about natural drinks for people who care about their eyes, their circulation, and their whole body vitality. So let me start with the thing that everyone notices first, the thing my hands are wearing right now, that color. This deep, glowing red is one of the most remarkable colors in the entire plant kingdom. Most red fruits and vegetables get their red from one family of pigments, but beets are different. Beets carry their own special group of pigments called betalains, and these ruby and golden colors are found in only a small handful of plants on the whole planet. So when you look at fresh beet juice glowing in a glass like a piece of stained glass held up to the light, you are looking at something genuinely rare in nature. And in just a moment, I will show you why this color matters far more for your eyes than most people ever realize. But first, let me take you back, way back, to where this humble root truly comes from. Because the beet you buy today, in almost any supermarket in the world, began its life as a wild, tough, leafy plant growing along the windy coastlines of the Mediterranean, spreading across the shores of North Africa, Europe, and Asia. This wild ancestor, often called the sea beet, had thin, stringy roots and broad green leaves, and it clung to salty, sandy soil, where the sea air and the sunlight were strong. That salty, sun-drenched beginning is part of why beets are such survivors, such generous storehouses of minerals, and such a wonderful example of how a simple coastal plant became a treasure found in kitchens everywhere. Here is a detail that always makes me smile. For much of early history, people cared about the beet mostly for its leaves, rather than for the round root we love today. The ancient Greeks and the Romans grew beets and ate the green tops, treating them a little like we treat leafy greens today. And they used the roots mainly in gentle, traditional remedies. The big, sweet, swollen red root that I am juicing right now developed slowly over many centuries, as gardeners chose the sweetest, reddest, roundest plants again and again, until the beet became the deep ruby jewel we recognize. So this root is a story of human patience, of hands in the garden season after season, shaping a wild coastal weed into something soft, sweet, and gloriously red. And I want to hold on to that idea of the leaves for a moment, because it becomes surprisingly important for your eyes a little later. Keep it in the back of your mind, the way you keep a secret you are excited to share. For now, let me press a little more of this fresh beet through the juicer. Watch the color deepen, and let the clean, sweet, earthy aroma fill the whole kitchen, because the next part of the story is where beets and eye health truly begin to connect. Think for a moment about your eyes as two tiny living cameras. Each eye gathers light through a clear window at the front, focuses that light with a soft living lens, and paints a picture on a delicate screen at the back called the retina. That retina is one of the most active, most hungry tissues in your entire body. It works every single second you are awake, turning light into the images you see. And to do this endless, tireless work, it needs a rich, steady, generous flow of fresh blood, carrying oxygen and nutrients. Your eyes are woven through with some of the tiniest, most delicate blood vessels you carry anywhere. And here is where this simple red root steps quietly onto the stage. Let me stay with that little camera a moment longer, because it is one of the true marvels you carry with you everywhere. At the very front sits a clear, curved window that gathers the light. Behind it, a soft living lens gently bends and focuses that light, adjusting 100 times a day as you glance from a distant hillside to the words on a page. Tiny muscles shift and settle to keep the picture sharp. And at the back waits that delicate screen, layered with millions of light-sensing cells, ready to turn each ray into a signal your mind reads as sight. Every part of this exquisite instrument is built from living tissue, bathed in fluid, and fed by blood. And every part quietly depends on the nourishment you bring to your body each day. When you understand how alive and how hardworking your eyes truly are, it becomes so easy to see why the simple, colorful food on your plate matters to them. Beets are famous, truly famous, for one particular gift. They are one of the richest natural sources of dietary nitrates. Now that word might sound technical, so let me make it warm and simple. When you enjoy fresh beet juice, your body takes these natural nitrates and, through a beautiful little chain of steps, turns them into a messenger molecule that helps your blood vessels relax, soften, and open. And when blood vessels open a little more easily, blood flows more freely and gently to every corner of the body, including those tiny, precious vessels that feed and nourish your eyes. This is one of the most fascinating reasons people connect beets and vision, and it is grounded in real, well-understood nutrition rather than in wishful thinking. Just picture it. A glass of fresh beet juice, glowing and sweet, becomes part of the quiet story of circulation. The sunlight that once fell on green beet leaves helped the plant pull minerals from the soil and store this natural gift in the root. You press that root through the juicer, you enjoy the juice, and your body carries that gift onward, supporting the healthy blood flow that your hardworking eyes rely on every waking moment. From soil to root to glass to the delicate living camera behind your eyes, that is the kind of connection that makes me love working with such an ordinary, humble ingredient. Let me linger on that little messenger for just a moment longer, because it truly is one of the small wonders of the human body. Deep inside the walls of your blood vessels, this gentle signal tells the vessels to soften and to widen, the way a narrow country lane might open into a broad, easy road. And your eyes, remember, are laced with some of the very finest, most delicate vessels you own, threads so fine they are almost too small to imagine, carrying oxygen and nourishment to the busy, light-catching tissue at the back of the eye. When circulation flows freely and gently, those tiny threads can do their quiet work with ease. So a food that supports open, relaxed, easy blood flow is, in a very real and honest sense, a food that speaks kindly to your eyes. And beets are one of the most generous natural sources of exactly that gift. And here is another gentle way that fresh beet juice cares for your eyes, one that is easy to overlook. Fresh beet juice is, above all, water. Beautiful, mineral-rich, living water, drawn up from the soil by the plant and stored in the sweet flesh of the root. And the surface of your eye adores moisture. The clear window at the very front of the eye stays smooth, comfortable, and bright when the body is well hydrated, bathed in a soft film that keeps your vision clear and your eyes feeling fresh. So every glass of fresh beet juice offers gentle hydration along with its color and its minerals. And hydration is one of the quietest, kindest, most underappreciated foundations of comfortable, healthy eyes. A simple glass, a little more water in your day, a little more comfort for the tiny living cameras that show you everything. And there is one small kitchen detail that completely changes how I prepare beets to protect this gift, a tip I will share with you very soon. But first, let me pour a little of this juice, admire the color, and open the next part of the story, because circulation is only the beginning of why beets are treasured. Now let me come back to that rare color, because it does so much more than look beautiful. Those ruby batalin pigments in beets behave as antioxidants inside the body, and antioxidants are simply part of the body's gentle daily housekeeping. Every day, as your cells turn food into energy, and as your eyes soak in light from morning until night, tiny bits of natural wear and tear are produced. A little like the way a busy, well-loved kitchen collects crumbs and needs a soft daily wipe. Antioxidants from colorful foods help support the body's own natural cleanup and balance. So the very pigment that stains my fingers so vividly is also part of what makes beets such a wonderful, colorful food for people thinking about long-term wellness and healthy eyes. Think for a moment about how much light your eyes welcome across a single day, from the first soft glow of morning through bright afternoons to the gentle screens of the evening. All that light is a gift, the very thing that lets you see. And the busy tissue that receives it works hard, hour after hour. That is exactly why colorful, antioxidant-rich foods feel so at home in a routine built around healthy eyes. The ruby betalains in beets, the vitamin C in the greens, the whole vivid palette of the plant, all of it joins the body's gentle daily housekeeping, supporting the tissues that spend their lives bathed in light. Colorful eating and clear, comfortable vision have always been quiet companions. Here is the beautiful contrast that I keep returning to. On one side, you have a single small root sitting quietly on a wooden board in an ordinary kitchen. On the other side, you have one of the most delicate and hardworking systems in the entire human body. The system of vision, built from tissue so fine that it turns rays of light into memories and faces and colors and the smile of someone you love. And a simple beet, through its color, its minerals, and its natural nitrates, gently offers something to that grand and delicate system. Tiny root, enormous story. That contrast is the whole reason I find fresh beet juice so genuinely exciting. There is even more quietly folded inside this root. Beets are a lovely source of a nutrient called folate, one of the gentle building blocks the body uses to make fresh new cells and to keep tissues renewed and healthy. Think of folate as part of the body's steady renewal crew, always at work, always maintaining, always rebuilding. And your eyes, like every part of you, are made of living tissue that welcomes that quiet care. Beets also carry potassium, a friendly mineral that helps the body keep its fluids in graceful balance, along with a scattering of iron, manganese, and other minerals gathered patiently from the soil. So a single ruby root offers folate for renewal, potassium for balance, minerals for the body's many quiet tasks, natural nitrates for circulation, and rare pigments for antioxidant housekeeping. All of that from one humble vegetable you can hold in a single hand. Now, let me be warm and honest with you, because you deserve honesty. The beetroot by itself is celebrated mostly for circulation and for its rich antioxidant color, and those matter a great deal for the tissues of the eye. But the classic nutrients that most people picture when they think about foods for eyesight actually live in a place many of us throw away. Remember those leaves I asked you to keep in the back of your mind? This is the moment they shine. The green tops of the beet greens, are a genuine hidden treasure for eye health. And once you know this, you may see the whole plant with new respect. Beet greens carry two very special plant pigments called lutein and zeaxanthin. These two are among the most important natural foods for eye health that science talks about. And here is the wonderful part. Your body gathers lutein and zeaxanthin and concentrates them right in the center of the retina, in the very spot responsible for your sharpest, most detailed central vision. Picture them as a soft, natural, golden filter. Small color messengers from plants that settle into the most precious part of your eye and help it work with bright light. Nature stores these pigments in leafy greens, and beet greens are proudly part of that leafy green family. So when you keep the tops and enjoy them, You are welcoming true nutrients for eyesight straight into your kitchen. Let me paint that picture a little more fully, because it is genuinely lovely. Your eyes spend all day gathering light, and among that light are especially bright, high-energy rays. Those golden pigments, lutein and zeaxanthin, gather in the center of the retina and act like a soft, natural pair of interior sunglasses, gently filtering and softening that intense light so the precious cells beneath can keep doing their delicate work in comfort. They are antioxidants too, joining the body's daily housekeeping right there in the most important corner of your vision. And because the body relies on food to supply these pigments, it gathers every bit of them from the colorful plants you eat. That is why leafy foods, beet greens proudly among them, are so treasured as natural foods for eye health. Each green leaf is a small delivery of golden protection for the very heart of your sight, and there is even more waiting in those leaves. Beet greens also offer vitamin A along with the plant pigments the body can gently use to support it, and vitamin A is one of the most classic and important nutrients for normal vision. Let me explain why in the simplest, most vivid way. Deep inside your retina, there are cells that let you see in soft, dim light, in the glow of evening, in a candlelit room, under a quiet moon. These cells rely on vitamin A to do their gentle work. In fact, vitamin A becomes part of the very machinery that captures faint light and turns it into sight. So the greens on top of this humble root carry a nutrient that sits at the heart of how you see when the light grows soft. That is a genuinely beautiful thing to hold in your hands, and the generosity of those leaves keeps unfolding. Beet greens also carry vitamin C, a bright, well-loved antioxidant that supports the body's tissues and joins that daily housekeeping we spoke about. They offer vitamin K, which the body values for many of its quiet, steady processes, and they bring their own share of minerals and gentle plant goodness. Cup for cup, tender beet greens stand proudly among the leafy greens that nutrition so warmly celebrates. So the next time you see a bunch of beets crowned with big, leafy tops, I hope you feel a little spark of delight, knowing that you are holding two wonderful foods in one: a sweet ruby root for circulation and color, and a crown of leaves rich in the very pigments and vitamins that your eyes love most. So here is how I want you to picture the whole beet now, root and leaves together, as one complete package for the eyes. The ruby root brings natural nitrates that support healthy blood flow to the delicate vessels of the eye, and it brings rare betalain pigments that act as antioxidants in the body's daily housekeeping. The green leaves bring lutein and zeaxanthin, which settle into the retina like a soft golden filter, and they bring vitamin A to support the cells that help you see in gentle light, root and leaf. Blood and pigment, circulation and central vision. When you look at the entire plant this way, the beet becomes one of the most quietly complete natural foods for eye health that you can bring into an everyday kitchen. And when I stand here and really think about it, the whole thing feels almost like a nature film unfolding in slow motion. It begins with sunlight, pouring down onto a field. Green beet leaves catch that light and use it to power the plant's quiet work, drawing water and minerals up from the dark, cool soil. Deep beneath the surface, the root swells and stores the harvest, weaving that borrowed sunlight into sweetness, into minerals, into that impossibly rich red pigment. Months later, that same root rests on my kitchen board. I press it through the juicer, the color pours into the glass, and I drink it. And inside the body, those stored gifts travel onward to support the flow of blood, while the pigments from the leaves settle into the retina, the very tissue whose entire purpose is to catch light. Sunlight, captured by a plant, returning at last to help human eyes receive light once more, from the sun, to the soil, to the root, to the glass, to the delicate screen behind your eyes. That is the beautiful, honest circle that a simple beet quietly completes. Let me pause here, pour a little more fresh beet juice, and let that idea settle, because I think it changes how a person shops, cooks, and even how they think about the humble vegetables they walk past every week. But I promised you a practical, useful story, as well as a beautiful one. So let me now roll up my sleeves and show you exactly how I choose, wash, prepare, and enjoy beets so that you can bring all of this into your own life with ease and pleasure. Let me start at the market, because a wonderful glass of fresh beet juice begins long before the juicer. When I choose beets, I look for roots that feel firm and heavy for their size, with smooth, taut skin and a rich, deep color. A beet that feels solid and dense in the hand is usually sweet, fresh, and full of juice. And here is my favorite little secret at the market. Whenever I can find beets with the leafy green tops still attached, I feel like I have found a small treasure, because those greens are freshest when they look vibrant, lively, and full of life. Bright, perky leaves are a lovely sign that the whole plant traveled to you in beautiful condition, and they give you those precious nutrients for eyesight as a generous bonus. And here is a delightful little discovery for anyone who loves color as much as I do. Beets come in far more than the classic deep ruby red. In many markets, you can find golden beets that glow like sunshine, and beets with soft rings of pink and white inside, striped like a candy swirl when you slice them open. They each bring their own gentle flavor and their own charm to fresh juice, and exploring them turns an ordinary shopping trip into a small, joyful treasure hunt. The deep red beets carry the richest betalain color, so I lean toward them most often for that glowing ruby juice. And yet welcoming variety onto your plate is one of the loveliest things you can do, because a colorful mix of foods is exactly what the body flourishes on. Once I bring the beets home, I like to gently separate the leaves from the roots, because they each stay fresh and happy in slightly different ways. The roots love to rest in the cool refrigerator, where they can stay firm and sweet for a good 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes even longer, quietly waiting for you. The leaves prefer to be used within a few days while they are still bright and lively, the same way you would enjoy any fresh leafy green at its peak. This simple habit of separating the two means you waste far less and enjoy far more, and it keeps every part of this generous plant ready for your next fresh recipe. Now let me talk about washing, because beets grow underground, close to the soil, and they come to us wearing a little of the earth they were born in. That earthiness is part of their charm, and cleaning them is simple and calm. For the firm roots, I hold each beet under cool running water and use a clean vegetable brush to gently scrub the surface, working around the whole root until the skin is clean and smooth. The firm, sturdy skin of a beet is wonderfully suited to a good scrub, and running water with a brush is usually all you need to leave them fresh and clean and ready. For the leafy green tops, I treat them the way I treat any tender leaves. I fill a large bowl with cool water, let the greens float and swirl gently, and give them a little time to release any fine soil into the water. Then I lift the leaves out, refresh the water if I like, and give them one more gentle rinse until they feel clean, crisp, and lively in my hands. And if you ever want an extra gentle refresh for sturdy produce, a brief soak of a few minutes in water with a small spoon of baking soda can be a pleasant, simple ritual for firm vegetables before a final rinse under running water. It is a calm, old-fashioned kitchen habit that many people enjoy. And a warm little word about those lovely greens, so you can enjoy them with complete ease. Beet greens, like many leafy greens, such as spinach and chard, carry natural plant compounds that are simply part of what makes a green a green. And the friendliest, happiest way to enjoy them is as one delicious part of a varied, colorful plate. A comfortable serving suits most people beautifully, and rotating your greens across the week, beet tops one day, other fresh leaves another, keeps your eating lively, interesting, and full of variety. That gentle sense of balance is exactly what the body loves, and it lets you welcome all the eye-friendly goodness of beet greens with a light heart and a happy kitchen. When it comes to peeling, I want to give you a genuinely freeing little truth. For fresh beet juice, peeling is completely optional. The skin of a well-scrubbed beet is thin, and many people simply juice the whole clean root, color, goodness, and all. When I do feel like peeling, perhaps for a smoother texture, I find the easiest way is to enjoy the beet after a gentle steaming, because the skin then slips away under your fingers like a soft glove, saving several minutes and keeping your hands tidy. But for pure fresh juice, straight from the raw root, a good scrub is usually all the preparation a beet ever asks of you. Cutting beets is quick and satisfying once you know the rhythm. I slice off the little root tail and the top where the leaves met the root. Then I cut the beet into wedges, or chunks, sized to fit comfortably into the mouth of my juicer. Firm, evenly cut pieces glide through the machine beautifully, and they let the juicer draw out that gorgeous ruby color and clean, sweet aroma with ease. And here is that small kitchen detail I promised you earlier, the one that changes everything for me. I love to prepare my beets fresh and juice them shortly before I plan to enjoy the glass, because fresh beet juice is at its most vibrant, most fragrant, and most alive when it is newly pressed. That freshness is the whole magic of doing this at home. There is something almost meditative about this part of the process, and I hope you feel it too when you try it. The steady hum of the juicer, the ribbon of deep color unspooling into the glass, the clean, sweet, earthy scent rising into the room. All of it turns a few minutes in the kitchen into a small, calming ritual. This is the quiet pleasure at the heart of fresh beet juice benefits. It asks so little of us, just a scrub, a few cuts, and a moment of patience, and it gives back so much color, so much aroma, and so many valuable nutrients gathered from soil and sunlight. One more friendly thought about timing, because people often ask, fresh beet juice is at its most vibrant and most fragrant in the first little while after it is pressed. So I love to make just what I plan to enjoy and to savor it soon, while the color is deep and the aroma is bright and alive. If I ever prepare a little extra, I keep it cool and closed in the refrigerator and enjoy it the same day, while it is still fresh and lovely. That simple rhythm keeps every glass tasting its best, and it keeps the whole habit easy and joyful. As I press these last pieces through the juicer now, watch how the color gathers, layer upon layer, into the deepest, most jewel-like red. Fresh beet juice has a flavor that is earthy, sweet, and grounding, a taste that feels almost like the soil and the sunlight speaking together. Some people adore it on its own, and I completely understand why. Many others love to soften and brighten it, and this is where fresh beet juice becomes wonderfully playful. A squeeze of lemon or a little fresh citrus lifts the earthy sweetness and adds its own gentle vitamin C. A knob of fresh ginger gives it warmth and sparkle. And a handful of those precious beet greens, or a few other fresh leaves, pressed right alongside the root, blends the circulation-supporting gifts of the root with the retina-loving pigments of the leaves in one single, glowing glass. Root and leaf, together in the same cup, a complete little tribute to eye health. And that brings me to a lovely, simple piece of wisdom about how the eyes actually welcome some of these nutrients. The plant pigments that support vision, the ones stored in the green leaves, are the kind that the body absorbs most warmly in the friendly company of a little healthy fat. So a beautiful, easy habit is to enjoy your fresh beet and greens near a meal that includes something like a drizzle of good olive oil, a few nuts, a little avocado, or a dish of seeds. That gentle touch of healthy fat is like opening a door, helping your body carry those precious pigments toward the retina, where they do their quiet, golden work. It is such a small, pleasant habit, and it makes your colorful eating even more rewarding. And if you ever wish to make this a lasting part of your days, the secret is simply to make it easy and enjoyable for yourself. Keep a few firm beets waiting in the refrigerator so a fresh glass is always just a few minutes away. Let your juicer live somewhere within easy reach on the counter, ready and inviting. Pair your beet juice with foods and flavors you already love, so it feels like a treat rather than a task. A habit kept with pleasure is a habit that stays, and the benefits of beets, for your circulation, for your vitality, and for your eyes, come most beautifully to those who enjoy them gently and regularly over time, glass after glass, season after season. Now let me share a charming little surprise that beets sometimes offer, so that it delights you rather than puzzles you. Beets carry such a rich, powerful pigment that, in some people, that ruby color can gently pass all the way through the body and give a soft pink or ruby tint to what leaves the body afterward. It is a completely gentle, natural, and perfectly safe little wink from the beet, simply the sign of that remarkable color making its journey through you. Some people notice this gentle tint, and for others it stays quietly unseen. And either way, it is completely safe and rather endearing. One of those small, honest facts about real, whole, colorful food that I love to share, so you can smile knowingly, fully at ease. Let me also speak, gently and warmly, about rhythm and amount, because the body always enjoys balance and variety. Fresh beet juice carries a natural sweetness, since the beet is a proud cousin of the very plant that gives us so much of the world's sugar. That natural sweetness is part of its charm and its energy, and it means that a comfortable, modest glass is often the most enjoyable rhythm for most people. A smaller cup savored slowly rather than a large amount all at once. Many people love to enjoy their fresh beet juice in the morning or the earlier part of the day, when its gentle, grounding energy feels most welcome and when its support for circulation can quietly accompany them through their hours. A comfortable amount, enjoyed regularly, is usually the wisest and most pleasant approach, because your body flourishes on variety and gentle steadiness. I also love that a fresh glass of beet juice can become a small shared ritual for a whole household. Little ones are often utterly enchanted by the color, giggling at how bright and almost magical it looks in the glass. And that wonder is a lovely, gentle doorway to a lifelong friendship with colorful, wholesome food. Grown-ups busy with full days find in it a simple, grounding pause, a moment of care folded into the morning. And for those who have gathered many years and much wisdom, a comfortable glass of fresh beet juice offers a calm, time-honored pleasure, easy to enjoy, and rich with the kind of traditional goodness that generations before us also treasured. One humble root, one glowing glass, and a small moment of care that everyone at the table can share in their own way. Speaking of that famous sweetness, let me give you one more beautiful thread of beet history, because it connects this little kitchen root to the whole world. Long ago, in the 1700s, curious minds in Europe discovered that the humble beet held real, usable sugar inside its pale relatives. Over the following years, gardeners and scientists developed special sugar beets, and fields of beets began to feed entire nations with sweetness. So the same family of plants that I am juicing for its color and its gifts for your eyes also quietly reshaped kitchens and tables across the globe. From a wild, salty coastal weed to a village garden favorite to fields that sweetened the world, the beet has lived one of the most remarkable journeys of any food we eat. Small seed, enormous story, once again. And through all of it, I keep coming back to the simple reason we are here together in this kitchen. I am pressing fresh beets through the juicer, watching this glorious color gather in the glass, and sharing why this humble root, leaves and all, is so quietly treasured for the eyes. The honest heart of it is this: every food plays one part in the larger story of healthy vision, and beets shine brightest as one glowing, colorful thread woven into a varied whole food life. Alongside other bright vegetables, leafy greens, good fats, and plenty of fresh water, a comfortable glass of fresh beet juice becomes a beautiful, practical, everyday way to care for your circulation, your vitality, and your eyes all at once. And woven all through that long journey is a rich thread of folk tradition, which I find deeply moving. For a very long time, and in many cultures, people looked at the beet's deep red juice and connected it, in their hearts and their old kitchen wisdom, with blood, with vitality, with strength, and with life itself. That color seemed to speak of energy and warmth, and so beets became a beloved food for building strength and feeling nourished, especially in the colder seasons. In the great soup traditions of Eastern Europe, That glowing beet broth became a symbol of home, of comfort, of family gathered around a warm table. This is folk wisdom, the poetry of people who watched their food closely for generations. And it is beautiful precisely because it shows how deeply humans have always sensed that vivid, colorful food carries something worth cherishing. Across many lands and many centuries, people wove beets into their idea of vitality in their own ways. Some traditions treasured beets as a food for strength and stamina, something to lean on when the body longed for rebuilding and warmth. Some connected that deep red root with the liver and with the body's inner cleansing and renewal. Some prized it for clarity and for a feeling of freshness and energy, and some folded beets into the story of beauty, believing that a glowing complexion begins with glowing, colorful food. And in quiet corners of that long history, people did associate colorful, nourishing foods with bright, clear eyes and with the simple wish to see well for a lifetime. These beliefs grew from close, loving observation of the natural world. And while they speak the language of tradition rather than the language of the laboratory, they carry a wisdom that still feels warm and true. That vibrant, freshly grown food and a vibrant, clear-seeing life belong together. Now, the old tradition connected beets with blood and vitality through instinct and long observation. And that is lovely. But here is what I find even more wonderful. Modern nutrition, in its own careful language, gently agrees with a piece of that instinct. Those very nitrates that support healthy blood flow, that gentle influence on circulation that reaches even the tiniest vessels of the eyes, give a quiet, honest, modern echo to what our ancestors felt when they called beets a food of vitality and blood. The tradition is beautiful, and the modern explanation is even more fascinating. And the two together, folk memory and honest science, make fresh beet juice feel like a drink with real depth and real history in every glowing sip. Let me gather all of this into your hands now, simply and practically, so that you leave with something you can truly use starting today. When you think of beets for eye health, remember the whole plant. The ruby root offers natural nitrates that support gentle, healthy blood flow toward the delicate vessels that nourish your eyes. And it offers rare betalain pigments that join the body's daily antioxidant housekeeping. The green leaves offer lutein and zeaxanthin, which settle into the retina like a soft golden filter for your sharpest central vision. And they offer vitamin A to support the cells that help you see in soft, gentle light. Enjoy the root and the leaves together whenever you can. Pair them near a little healthy fat. Brighten the juice with lemon or ginger, and welcome that glorious color into your week. Keep the habits simple and joyful, because simple habits are the ones that last. Choose firm, heavy beets with lively green tops when you can find them. Scrub the roots under running water with a clean brush. Swirl the leaves gently in cool water, and enjoy your beets fresh. Keep the roots cool in the refrigerator, where they happily stay firm for 2 to 3 weeks, and enjoy the bright leaves within a few days while they are at their liveliest. Juice a comfortable glass, savor it in the morning or the earlier part of your day, and let variety and gentle steadiness be your guide, because your body loves a colorful, balanced plate more than any single food alone. People with their own personal dietary rhythms often like to seek individual guidance before making any new ingredient a daily ritual, and that kind of thoughtful, personal care always suits a balanced life beautifully. As I lift this final glass of fresh beet juice toward the light, and the deep ruby color glows like something almost alive, I keep returning to one gentle thought. Caring for one small part of the body, even something as precious and delicate as your eyes, truly begins with caring for the whole body, with warmth, with color, with fresh food, and with simple daily habits kept lovingly over time. Your eyes are fed by the same blood, the same nutrients, and the same steady kindness that nourish all of you. And a humble beet, root and leaf together, quietly offers a little of that kindness in every glass. So here is where I leave you, with the juicer resting, the kitchen full of that clean, sweet, earthy aroma, and this beautiful ruby drink shining in front of me. This simple, humble, gloriously colored root carries sunlight and soil and water and time. It carries the memory of ancient coastlines and old family kitchens, and it carries real, honest nutrients that connect, in their own gentle way, to the miracle of how you see the world. That is the true beauty of fresh beet juice for eyesight, for your eyes, and for your whole vibrant self. Thank you for standing here in the kitchen with me, for sharing this glass and this story, and may every colorful, thoughtful thing you bring to your table help you see your days, and everyone you love, a little more brightly.